Welcome, Movement Kids, to the online experience. Hi, Movement Kids. Most of you guys don't know me, but that's okay. My name's Blake, and I work for Movement Church. One of my jobs is to make fun videos for you guys. And while these videos are gonna be cool and do trick shots and fun stuff like that, the real reason that we at Movement Church are making these videos is because we want you guys to know who Jesus is. Jesus is the Son of God who came to earth as a baby and lived a perfect life. He died on the cross and rose from that death so that you and I can have a relationship with God and one day go to heaven and fully enjoy that relationship. So each week during these videos, we're gonna have a story time or a lesson that points us back to Jesus and reminds us why we live for God. So, welcome to story time. Today, I'll be telling you guys a story about my brother. I'm gonna tell you a story about two brothers. This is a completely made up story. It has nothing to do with me or my childhood. It's someone else's childhood. So, yeah, here we go. It was a cold winter afternoon. Two brothers, Calvin and Joseph, had spent all morning outside playing in the snow, building forts, throwing snowballs at each other, and sledding. Their mom had called them in for lunch, and so after the boys had eaten their food, they headed downstairs and play with their racetrack cars. Calvin had the brilliant idea to build a ramp out of the tracks, and Joseph made it possible. He put it all together and made it work. After a few minutes, the ramp was complete. "I get to go first," Calvin declared. "It was my idea to build the ramp, so I get to go." Joseph disagreed. "I did most of the work. I get to go first," he shot back. "Me first," shouted Calvin. "No, me first," Joseph shot back. Soon, the boys were wrestling on the ground and yelling at each other, trying to decide who should be the first one to go. Their mom came running down the stairs, pulled the boys apart, and yelled, What is going on here? The boys were suddenly embarrassed. I built a ramp for the race cars, so I should be the first one to get to use it, Joseph said bashfully. But it was my idea to build it, Calvin replied. Boys, it doesn't matter who did what, their mother said. What matters is that you think of yourself less and you think of others more. But why should I do that? Joseph asked. Because that's how Jesus tells us to act. The Bible tells us that Jesus is the King of the world, and in the Bible, Jesus tells us to follow his commandments, their mom said. The Bible tells us not to wrestle our brother? Calvin asked. Their mom laughed. Not exactly. But the Bible does tell us to do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility, count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not to your own interests, but also the interests of others. So Calvin should think of me and I should get to go first? Joseph asked. No, you should think of Calvin before yourself and he should think of you before himself. So then who gets to go first? Calvin asked. It doesn't matter who goes first. What matters is that you are thinking of the other person more than you're thinking about yourself. So when Jesus died on the cross for your sins, he wasn't thinking about himself. He was thinking about those he would be saving because of his death and resurrection. Oh, the boys said together. Now, Mother said, go play and think about the interests of others. Thanks, Mom, they said, and they ran off to play with their cars. Our memory verse today is the verse that the mother told the boys, and it comes from the book of Philippians. Philippians 2, 3, and 4 says, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make our memory verses into paper airplanes. And then when your sibling or your parent asks to use that paper airplane, you can show them that verse and say, I'm going to think of you before I think of myself, and I'm going to let you play with my paper airplane for a while. Let's do that. Hey guys, welcome to Crash. We're going to be making paper airplanes today out of our memory verse, and it says, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. When we're done making this paper airplane, you can share this paper airplane because you're counting others more significant than yourself. So here's what we're going to do. Make sure your verse is facing up towards you. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half, just like that. Perfect. You're going to crease it. Use your fingers, thumbnail, a marker, use whatever. Just make sure that crease is nice and tight. Just like that. And then, not the verse part, the blank part, you're going to take it and you're going to fold one half into a triangle just like this. And you older kids, since you guys know how to do this a little more, make sure you're counting the other kids and the younger kids more significant than yourself and you're helping them out. Here you go. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So, you had it in half like that, and then you folded both sides down along the other side. That's step one. Now in step two, you're going to take each of these new flat pieces right here, and you're going to fold this side along the bottom side. So you're going to take this side, this flat side right here, and you're going to fold it down on this side, just like that. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. The final step is you're going to take this same part again and you're going to fold it along this edge line there. Along this edge line there. That's okay, we won't need that. fold this part right along there. Just like this. Boom, all done. I'm gonna teach you guys how to make one more paper airplane. So hold your paper flat with the verse pointing up. Then all you're gonna do is make a lot of small folds along the bottom. So it looks just like that. You don't want to get too close to your verse because you don't want to cover it up. Then what you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half. Fold the verse on top of itself. There. Now that it's in half, you're going to fold it back again, but not completely in half. I'll show you what I mean. Just like this. Like that. See that? And you're going to do the same thing on this side. There. And now you have your second paper airplane. And if you want to get really rowdy, you can fold these up as tips. Here, I'll show you. Just like that. And then you can even go one step further and make a nice straight rip. Make sure you don't rip your verse. Like that. And now you got a flying machine. Boom. Just like that. Now you have your paper airplane. And now when someone says, oh, what does your paper airplane say? You can open it up and you can read them your verse. Remember this week to count others more significant than yourselves. We'll see you guys next week.